thank you for joining us for Crafty Kids. My name is Jesica Adeky. I am a part-time library clerk here at the Octavia Fellin Public Library. And today I'm actually filling in for Henrietta, who is the person who does this Crafty Kids. And so thank you for joining us, and let's get started. Okay, so for our crafting today is going to be for monster socks. So the monster socks you see here are the finished product, and you can use any size socks. And this is kind of the before and the after of what you're going to be looking at. And for the stuffing, you can use anything that's soft material. You can use other socks if you want to, but you can get tree skirts, some cotton. If you have any bedding, you can use it for that also. Moving on, we have scissors, any type of tool like a wooden popsicle, or you can even use a pen that is blunt, or a pencil, just to kind of move material into the tips that you are sewing. We have Google eyes. We have felt to make shapes in order to put on the monsters. We have yarn, which today I will be using in order to make these sock monsters. We also have some fluffy balls for the nose or eyes, whichever you prefer. Alternative socks, like really warm socks you don't wear or you don't use, you can also use these ones. And we also have a glue gun in order to put on our shapes, our eyes, our nose. Alternative, you can sew it in, but you would need just thread and needles. And the last thing we have today is the actual sewing machine, but we're not going to use this one today. So we're going to make a V here and start here. So when you're bringing it back, you're going to put it back in the middle for, I think it's called a back stitch. And when you're pulling your yarn or big threads through, make sure you're kind of pulling the opposite direction, because if it gets too tight, whatever you're working on is going to look uneven. So I'm finished with our V here, and for the end I'm just going to go back one. Just go backwards one stitch, and then I'm just going to loop it through inside in order to tie it off. And I think I'm going to go do one more through the opposite side just to make sure it stays. So that's that, and you just snip it off. Now, a thing to note about this one is the knots are going to be inside, so it really doesn't matter where or how long this ending needle or starting needle is. It's going to be inside the sock. So for the heel of the sock is going to be our mouth. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of fold it. Sideways view here, we're going to fold it. And then we're going to use this piece, kind of flatten it out first. And we're just going to sew kind of straight across. And on another side note, if you're not able or you don't understand how to do like the back stitch I'm doing, where you just go around and you can basically go back one and you go around. It's kind of like a loop. Okay, so we are pretty much done. So we're going to tie this one off. Again, I'm just going to make one loop, make sure there's some room. Just go back and make my knots. And I'm just going to go through one more time just to make sure it's secure. Okay, so snip that one off, and this is where we're going to grab our scissors. Finally, we're going to, after you sew it, turn it inside out. As you can see, my horns did not come out. So I'm going to take a tool. Now, since this is our mouth right here, and this is our horns, we would need the eyes. You can do the nose, you can do the mouth. The mouth you can leave as is, or you can do fun things like a tongue, or maybe you want teeth instead, or even eyebrows. You can do that also. Tear it apart because we're going to stuff our horns here. And again, we can use a tool just to kind of make the stuffing go up a little bit easier. Now, depending on how big or how stretchy you want your monster to look, you can put as much stuffing in here as you want, or as little stuffing in here as you want. And for the teeth, all you're going to do is cut out triangles. Bottom, you have your hole here. You're just going to fold it inwards once. You can either glue it or you can sew it. Today I'm just going to glue it. And there is the finished product. You can make your cleanups, and there you go. Thank you again for joining us for Crafty Kids. This is our last Crafty Kids for December. And again, my name is Jesica Adeky. I'm only filling in today for Henrietta, but thank you again so much for joining. If you decide to make these monster socks, please feel free to take a picture and post it down below so that we can see your monsters. Thank you very much for joining us. You have a great rest of your year, and we'll see you again next week in the new year for new Crafty Kids. Thank you.